morning again, students, and welcome to part B of our lecture series on the reproductive system of humans. Today, I will be presenting to you on the female reproductive system, just to follow up from the last lecture, which was on the male reproductive system. My name is Carrie-Ann Lee, and I'll be your biology teacher for today. But before we get to the lesson at hand, I would like to give you a fun fact. Did you know that biology is the only subject that sees division and multiplication as the same thing? You must be wondering where I'm going with this one. But in order for cells to multiply, they have to divide. I leave you with that one. Okay, so the female reproductive system, as we mentioned before, this is what we'll be talking about today. It has different parts and it has specific functions. The main function is to ensure that the organism carries on. So we want to prevent extinction of our race, and so we want to ensure that we continue producing new offspring to replace those ones that would have passed on. Now, the parts of the female reproductive system are many. They include the ovaries, the fallopian tube, the uterus, and highlighted in blue are two external features which form part of the reproductive system of females. These are the vagina and the vulva. We have also accessory glands and mammary glands and breasts, which are highlighted in yellow because the mammary glands and the breast may not jump out at you as parts of the reproductive system of females. However, they have a very important role to play in the process. Now, the reproductive system does few main things. They transport the gamete from point of production to where it is needed, and also they are responsible, or it is responsible, for the production of sex hormones. The gamete is stationary, and the female gamete is called what? Does anybody know? We have been using the term gamete, but I don't know if you would remember from the last lecture, the gamete is the sex cell. The female gamete is therefore known as the egg, sometimes called the ova or the oocyte. Let's go over that again, ladies. So the female gamete is referred to as the egg or ova or oocyte, and the male gamete, just to take you back a little, is the spermatozoa. So our gametes are our sex cells. Again, I wanted to reiterate the point. The ovaries produce egg. They are responsible, the reproductive system is responsible for the transport of the egg to the fallopian tube, and it is also responsible for preparing the egg for fertilization after it has been released from the ovaries. Alright, so before I explain this diagram, I want to say something to you. I'm going to go back. The function of the female reproductive system is to produce the egg cell, which is the, what, ladies? The gamete of the female. Then it will transport the egg from the point of production to the fallopian tube. Why does it go to the fallopian tube? It is waiting to be fertilized, and if it is not fertilized there, then it continues its journey until it reaches out of the body. Another thing that the reproductive system is responsible for is the preparation of that egg for fertilization, because the egg is not released until it is mature. Alright, so here we're looking at what is called a longitudinal cut through the female reproductive system. First thing I'm going to point out is the ovary. Now we have two ovaries. We have two fallopian tubes. The reason this representation is only showing one ovary and one fallopian tube is because we have cut this reproductive system in half in what is known as a longitudinal section or a vertical section or cut through the reproductive system. Let us look at the parts. This is the ovary. Now this is where egg production takes place. Once the egg is mature and ready to be ovulated, it is released into the fallopian tube, and we have these called fimbriae, which are finger-like projections, which will help to guide and propel the egg from the ovary into the fallopian tube. And this fallopian tube is very significant in the process, because without a fallopian tube, you will not be able to get pregnant as a woman, and a lot of things can go wrong with the fallopian tube that we can maybe discuss at another time. We have also this muscular structure called the uterus. Now it has 3 different layers of muscle. In the center of the uterus is where a baby would grow and develop until it is mature enough and ready to meet the conditions of the outside world, and then it would leave the body via the vaginal passage. Here we have the cervix, which is known as the neck of the womb. We have the rectum, which is a part of the alimentary canal, which forms part of the digestive system. It is highlighted here. It does not form part of the reproductive system, but I will just still point it out because it is on the diagram. We have the bladder, which is where our urine is stored once it is produced and sent to the bladder for storage. This is our urinary bladder. We have the urethra, which is that tube that allows for the passage of urine from the bladder out of the body. We have the clitoris, which is for sexual stimulation. We have the labia minora and the labia majora. We also have the hymen. Now the hymen is usually intact until structures start to enter this vaginal passage.